Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a brand new charge move in the world of Pokemon Go, Liquidation on Golisopod. Liquidation is a water-type clone of the charge move Crunch, so it is a pretty solid charge move. Golisopod previously was stuck with X-Scissor and Aerial Ace, so getting a good charge move is a massive upgrade for Golisopod. And even though it's glassy, I was honestly quite impressed. Golisopod can put in some solid anti-meta work in the Great League. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Liquidation Golisopod in action in the Open Great League. Hopping to the first match, picking up a bit of an awkward lead, Registeel into Sandslash. Sandslash, of course, does now have access to Drill Run, which it does get to very quickly. Drill Run will be shielded by the Registeel. Registeel over farming and going for the Zap Cannon, looking for the shield and an attack debuff. Gets the shield and the debuff, farming up with the Registeel, and we see the catch onto Pelipper. Did they full send the Drill Run? Yes, they did. That is a massive catch. Opponent now sends in Medicham. They are clearly extremely weak to flying in the back. Medicham firing off the Ice Punch. We see the no shield from the Pelipper. Pelipper farming up until just before Medicham makes another Ice Punch and full sending the Hurricane here. Hurricane will get the shield. Opponent now out of shields. Pelipper firing off the Weather Ball. This will not be lethal, but it will get the Medicham low. Medicham cannot farm down. They're forced to fire off a charge move, and now this sets up the perfect farm for Golisopod. In comes Golisopod, gets the farm down. The question is, what does the opponent have in the back? We know about the Sandslash. In comes the Sandslash, and Sandslash is fully walled by Golisopod. Golisopod is resisting both the Ice Punch and the Drill Run. Golisopod continues to farm. In the back, there's a Chestnut. Golisopod going to fire off the X-Scissor, and now in comes Registeel. Registeel can go for the Focus Blast, needing the chip damage from the X-Scissor, so that way the Focus Blast should just about KO. Registeel can farm down. The Sandslash will be able to make it to a Drill Run, but from here, Golisopod can close this game. Drill Run will get the Regi low. I want to finish the game with Golisopod. In comes Golisopod, and it's liquidation time. Liquidation cooks the Sandslash, and that is a good game. Picking up a neutral lead in the next match, Registeel into Sableye. I'm going to stay in this matchup to start with, tank a move, and then eventually look to save switch out, as I do need to check and see if there are any electric types lurking in the back. My opponent is going to go for the foul play. I can no-shield that fairly comfortably, go for the Zap Cannon here, and then I'm going to switch out. Zap Cannon gets a shield and gets the attack drop. In comes Pelipper. My opponent, even if they full send the return here, due to the attack drop, I can tank this. My opponent does go straight for the return. Pelipper hangs on. Opponent now sends in Swampert. Oh my goodness, Swampert not going to appreciate the Hurricane. Hurricane rocks the Swampert. Swampert with a sliver of HP, able to make the last second charge move here. Swampert's Hydro Cannon will KO, but this just sets up farm for Golisopod. The question is, what does my opponent have in the back? We know about the Sableye. Opponent's third Pokemon is revealed as a Registeel. Opponent read the team, understanding that I was trying to bait out the Registeel, and now they have a Pokemon with an electric charge move against my Golisopod. Golisopod will have to shield everything here, as Zap Cannon would easily one-shot. My opponent does get the attack debuff. I'm looking to overfarm with the Golisopod. In comes Sableye, and I'm going to switch out. I'm going to save all the energy on Golisopod, and I'm going to reset the debuff. Foul play, gets the Registeel low. Registeel will not make the charge move, but Golisopod is absolutely loaded here. Going for the liquidation. Down goes the Sableye. In comes the Registeel, and Registeel is about to drown under liquidation after liquidation. Opponent makes the last second charge move here, but it's not gonna matter. Golisopod shields up, Shadow Claws down, and that is a good game. We've got a Core Breaker on the lead in the next match, Registeel into Shadow Dragonite. I'm going to farm up to their superpower, switch and catch what should hopefully be the superpower onto Pelipper. But my opponent baited with a Dragon Claw. You hate to see it. They bang a little bit of extra energy, and now in comes Shadow Alolan Sandslash. I'm firing off the Weather Ball. Weather Ball is going to be no-shielded. Opponent accidentally farms too much. Pelipper makes Weather Ball number 2, and my opponent is forced to give up a shield. That is fantastic for me. Odds are they're probably going to undercharge here and look to get a little bit of farm, but getting shield advantage is quite nice. I'm sending in the Registeel. I have energy, so I may as well use lose it. This Focus Blast will absolutely banish the Sand Slash. Dragonite has energy, but I have a shield advantage here, so I can commit the shield in case they full send the superpower, and this time they do. So I shield up, farming with the Registeel, going for the Zap Cannon, and my opponent reads me like a book, catching on to Medicham, but Medicham is going to have a terrible day against Golisopod. These Shadow Claws tearing through the Medicham. This is not enough for a Psychic. Opponent only decided to go for the Ice Punch. That is not going to cut it. Golisopod gets the full farm down and leaves with so much energy. This is entirely resisted damage. Let's see if Golisopod can clutch. Liquidation rocks the Shadow Dragonite, and it's able to make it to 2 X-Scissors. X-Scissor number 1 gets the shield, and X-Scissor number 2 will get the KO. Golisopod putting in a surprising amount of work and taking down Shadow Dragonite. Tough lead in the next match, Registeel into Swampert. I'm going to farm all the way up with Registeel until Swampert makes it to the Earthquake, and then switch and absorb that energy onto Pelipper. Unfortunately, was not able to catch the Earthquake, but still, catching a Hydro Cannon works out quite nicely. Farming up with the Pelipper, and I will win CMP over the Alolan Sandslash. Weather Ball is going to connect, Sandslash is going to return fire with the Ice Punch. I'm going to no shield here, Ice Punch is going to connect, Sandslash looking for the farm down, not quite able to get there, as Pelipper is able to make the Weather Ball. Unfortunately, this is the regular Sandslash, so they can actually tank 2 Weather Balls, and I'm just going to send in Golisopod. Again, Golisopod walls Sandslash's energy. They can go for the Drill Run, I tank that no problem, and I get the farm down. We know the opponent has the Swampert. I resist all of Swampert's moves. They have a Frostlass in the back. Wait, Golisopod could actually clutch this. Liquidation gets shielded. We do not see the debuff. Opponent is going to fire off a charge move. I'm low enough where they can just go straight Avalanche here. I will commit the shield, looking to massively overfarm with the Golisopod, and I make it to 2 more Liquidations. Liquidation number 1 is going to be no shielded. In comes the Swampert, and I'm going for Liquidation number 2. Can we see the defense drop? Liquidation is going to connect. We do not see the defense drop. I try and make it to the X-Scissor, but Swampert is able to get there first. Hydro Cannon will be shielded. I'm going for the X-Scissor. This should get the shield, and if I remember, I have energy on the Reggie. In comes the Reggie, and we get the combo play with the Focus Blast. Focus Blast takes down the Swampert and secures the win. We see same leads again in the next match, Registeel into Shadow Swampert. As before, I'm going to farm up till they make it to the Earthquake and look to catch onto the Pelipper, which I am able to do. This time, did we catch the Quake? We did not. It is another Hydro Cannon bait. My opponent is now going to send in a Shadow Zapdos, and things could not be off to much of a worse start than they already are. I'm firing off a Weather Ball. That's going to be no shielded by the opponent, but the good news is I make it to Weather Ball number 2. Weather Ball is going to get a shield from my opponent. In comes the Registeel, going for the Focus Blast, but I lose CMP. I should tank whatever they throw. They only end up going for the Drill Peck, and I'm firing off the Focus Blast here. Focus Blast is going to KO. I know the Swampert has energy. In comes the Swampert, and I send in Golisopod. Golisopod does have a pretty nice charge moveset in the Great League. It is on the Glacier side. As you can see, that Hydro Cannon did quite a lot of damage. Opponent now sends in Shadow Credilli. I'm firing off the X-Scissor. That will hit for super effective damage. Looking to overfarm with the Golisopod. My opponent is going to fire off the Rock Slide. I should be able to throw 4 more Shadow Claws and then go for the X-Scissor just before they make the next Rock Slide. This will be lethal. Opponent is going to let that through. In comes the Swampert. Swampert is firing off their charge move here, and I have a tough call to make. Do I bait? Do I full send? I'm full sending the Liquidation here. What does the opponent want to do? They will commit the shield. We get the defense drop. Farming up. We see the switch into the Registeel to catch the charge move. We have the move banked on Golisopod, so we should be good. Opponent gets the farm down, going for the Liquidation, but I lose CMP. It must be an insanely attack-weighted Swampert. Hydro KOs, and we lose a heartbreaking game. Picking up a good lead in the next match, Registeel into Dugong. With Drill Run, Dugong can make this matchup a lot closer, however. I farm up, switch, and get the catch onto Pelipper. Drill Run just does absolutely nothing to a flying type, and my opponent is now going to send in Sableye. Sableye going for the foul play. That is not going to be enough to KO. Pelipper, despite the damage it's already taken, able to absorb that, hang on, and make it to the Hurricane. This is going to hurt. Hurricane onto the Sableye. Big damage. Sableye able to hang on with 1 HP. That is unfortunate. I lead with energy on Reggie. In the back, opponent has Golisopod. So honestly, things are looking pretty good in the endgame for Golisopod. In comes Golisopod. Golisopod farming up energy. These Shadow Claws hitting for super effective damage. Even debuffed, a Shadow Ball will do more than anything that Dewgong can throw. In comes the Dewgong, and even though it's resisted, I am going for the liquidation here. X's are typically the way to go here, but if I can get a defense drop, then it would end up being worthwhile. Unfortunately, I do not get the defense drop. Opponent goes for the Icy Wind, as everything they throw is going to be resisted by Golisopod. I'm going for another liquidation, again, hoping for the debuff, and it's just not happening. I'm looking to overfarm a ton of energy, tried to go for the catch. My switch clock was just not quite up. Icy Wind is going to be shielded. I farm up a ton of energy, send in the Registeel, and Registeel is going to have to deal with the Dewgong that's loaded on energy. Dewgong goes for the Drill Run, farming up with the Registeel. Registeel makes the Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon, of course, will be lethal. Opponent commits the shield. They want damage on the Registeel, and they're going for the Drill Run here. Drill Run, now that it's debuffed, not going to be enough to KO. Drill Run connects. In comes the Golisopod. Golisopod does not have a lot of energy, and that's good news for me, as I almost have back-to-back liquidation. Liquidation number 1 is going to connect, and now I make it to liquidation number 2. This should KO. The question is, can I farm down the Dewgong? Golisopod gets the farm down, and that's game over. We've got a bit of a tricky lead in the next match. Registeel into Galarian Stunfisk. Stunfisk can technically hit this entire team for super effective damage, so definitely not the most comfortable Pokemon to see. Focus Blast will be shielded by opponent, going for the Earthquake right away. I am going to let that through. Earthquake would hit for quite a lot of damage. I'm going to farm up with the Registeel, looking for the catch, but it's a simultaneous switch. Pelipper into Altaria. I will make it to the Hurricane. Hurricane will deal some nice damage, but Altaria has a big stat product, able to withstand the Hurricane, overfarm, and go for the kill shot with Sky Attack. Sky Attack will KO. I'm now going to send in Golisopod, looking for the farm down, but they will make the Sky Attack. I have to commit the shield, as Golisopod is a bug type, so I would take super effective damage there. I get the farm down, but that Galarian Stunfisk is still so healthy. We'll have to see, do they send in the Stunfisk? Do they send in the third? They send in Medicham. Medicham will be hit with the liquidation. I need to catch the Psychic onto Registeel to have a chance. Farm it up with Golisopod. Look for the catch, but great patience by my opponent. I'm not able to get the catch. Zap Cannon will be shielded, and now they send in Galarian Stunfisk to farm. Just beautifully played by my opponent, and unfortunately, I no longer have a win con. Liquidation will get them low and get the defense drop, but the Stunfisk just has too much energy. I can shield one Rock Slide, but there's another where that came from. Rock Slide is going to KO Golisopod, and that's a good game. We see same leads in the final match, Registeel into Stunfisk, and an opportunity for redemption. As before, I'm going to stay in this matchup and go for the Focus Blast as soon as I get there. I think my mistake last time was not staying in this matchup until my opponent took a move. My opponent is going to no-shield the first move, and now either one of my back two Pokemon could handle the Stunfisk. They go for the Earthquake. I continue to farm. This is only a Rock Slide, and I have a good enough Registeel that this will not KO. Rock Slide is going to connect. Opponent sends in a Azumarill. I'm only able to make it to the Focus Blast. How precise is their counting? Oh my goodness, we get the shield. That is absolutely massive. Now I can send in Pelipper, and Pelipper up a shield can put in a nice amount of work against the Azumarill. Azu goes for the Ice Beam. That does some solid chip damage, but Pelipper able to massively overfarm, and now go for the Hurricane. Hurricane into the Azu will be no-shielded. Azu firing off another charge move here. Honestly, the Ice Beam might KO. Ice Beam onto the Pelipper. Pelipper hangs on with a sliver of HP. In comes Golisopod. My opponent sends in Stunfisk. I believe it's low enough that an X-Scissor will KO. I'm firing off the X-Scissor. X-Scissor will KO. Opponent sends back in the Azu. Oh my goodness. What I'm going to do here is just shield, farm down, and Golisopod with energy should hopefully do very well versus whatever they have in the back. In the back, my opponent is running Fairy Wind Clefable, one of the new Pokemon. Liquidation is going to rock the Clefable. Clefable farming up energy. They do have enough for a move, but they're going to need two. Liquidation gets the shield, and I make another Liquidation. Now this move ends up KOing, but unfortunately, the app actually went down for like 10-15 minutes at this point, so the game ended up sitting like this for a while. Thankfully, it did eventually unfreeze and give me the win. All in all, I was really surprised by Liquidation Golisopod. I was expecting it to still be pretty bad, but it honestly has some really solid anti-meta play. Golisopod in previous seasons got Shadow Claw, which is probably the best fast move in the game, but the main issue was the charge moves, and now that it has Liquidation at Water type Crunch clone, it can put in some very nice work as an anti-meta pick. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.